Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the historic West Tampa Library. My name is Andrew Bradenbaugh, and I'm the director of the Tampa Hillsborough County Library. We are privileged today to celebrate a man who many of you know not only as a retired judge, but as a local historian, a friend, and a mentor. The Honorable E.J. Salcines has had a legal career spanning more than 50 years, and he's worked as an attorney, federal and state prosecutor, assistant U.S. attorney, and judge. In 1998, he was appointed to Florida's 2nd District Court of Appeal, where he served for more than a decade. Judge Salcines has 2 academic degrees, including his law degree, as well as 2 honorary doctorate degrees. He's received numerous awards and honors, including 5 awards of merit from the Florida and the American Bar Association. In 1979, he was knighted by King Juan Carlos of Spain and inducted into the Royal Order of Queen Isabella. I looked very long and hard to find out what title I should use for that, so we'll just use Sir. Judge Salcines currently serves on the City of Tampa Citizen Review Board, and he has a popular TV series called Tampa Untold Stories, which airs on the City of Tampa's CTTV station. As many of you know, and were probably present, yesterday a statue of Judge Salcines was unveiled downtown, and we're honored, truly honored, to have you with us today to celebrate your many contributions to the city. Born, raised, and still lives in West Tampa, your career is truly humbling. Would you please stand and be recognized? At this time, I'd like to recognize a few other folks that are here, elected officials and special guests. And when I call your name, please stand and be recognized if you're available. Mr. Donald Guter, who's the president and dean of the South Texas College Law, the alma mater. Is Mindy Guthrie, vice president of philanthropy and advancement services, with us this morning? Yes. Oh. Elvin Martinez, former state representative, and one of West Tampa's pioneer families. And Linda Salcena, former city council member, here with us today. I apologize if I missed anyone. We do welcome everyone that's here. Now I'd like to introduce someone who in these parts needs very little introduction. I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor of the City of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn.
I don't know what the revenue stream at Gallo de Oro or Arco 80s or West Tampa Sandwich Shop is going to be because all of you are here. So I don't know who's going to solve all the problems in the world, EJ. With everyone here to honor you, and it's indeed fitting. Those of you that were there yesterday, and it looks like most of you were there, I can tell by the sunburn, it was an amazing day. It was an amazing day for an amazing guy, and we got to see, and EJ and Elsa got to see the depth and the breadth of the affection for these two that was demonstrated yesterday, and in all of the accolades. And certainly, I exhausted everyone that EJ wrote for me. But it was a wonderful day to honor a guy that embodies everything that is good about this city. And it's only fitting that we are doing this here in this building, which is right across the street from the park that was named for the Salcines family. And a constant reminder of the impact that EJ and his family has had on all of us and on this community. This is a guy that never left Braddock Street. This is a guy that could have gone uptown, could have gone South Tampa, could have gone anywhere he wanted, but he never left the place that he was most comfortable and the place where his roots and where he and his family were raised. And that tells you a lot about him. It tells you about a guy who never forgot where he came from. And most importantly, never forgot the people who helped him along the way. And so EJ is one of these folks that never stops giving, ever. He doesn't have to do it. He doesn't need to see his name in the paper. He does it because he believes he's got a moral obligation to help people along the way, just as he has been helped along the way. And we have all benefited from that, not just as a community, but as a city and as a nation. And it is only fitting that we are paying tribute to this guy that we love so much, that we honor, that we respect, that we aspire to be this week. And so forevermore, as he told those young lawyers, will see that statue of E.J. Salcines as they enter that building, and they will remember what it means to be dignified, to be honorable, to be ethical, to understand and believe in the law, and to hold yourself to a higher standard. That's what that statue represents. But that is a testimony and a story of E.J.'s walk in this life, and we couldn't be more proud as a community, E.J., to celebrate the accomplishments of you and Elsa. He was there when I got married. He was at every one of my inaugurations as I laid my hand on that Bible. He has been there in every chapter in my life, and I am grateful for it. So now, therefore, I, Bob Buckhorn, alcalde, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Tampa, do hereby proclaim Saturday, October 28th, 2017, as the Honorable Judge E.J. Salcines Day in the city of Tampa. E.J., this is your day.
Great, thank you, Mayor Buckhorn. I'd also like to introduce Carl Harness, Hillsborough County's Chief Human Services Administrator, who's here on behalf of Honorable County Commissioner Les Miller. Please welcome Carl Harness.
Good morning, everyone. And I would like to extend a welcome to all of us that are here today to recognize and honor E.J. Salcines and this wonderful landmark, this historic landmark. In 1914, the collaboration between West Tampa founder U.C. McFarland, famed philanthropist Andrew Carnegie, and cigar factory owner Angel Acosta was as well as a number of dedicated residents that were here at that time, resulted in the creation of this first public library here in Hillsborough County. And looking at everyone here today, and with us all being here, you got to admit this is kind of inspiring, being in such a historic place and honoring such a historic figure. Yesterday, as the mayor had said, you know, we all gathered out in front of the courthouse, and we unveiled a statue, or as it was so promptly defined by EJ, a living statue, honoring a man who has been, has served this community, has been a valued member of our community. And today, not only are we celebrating EJ, whose legal expertise matches his knowledge of Tampa history, we're also recognizing the West Tampa Branch Library as a symbol of history here in Hillsborough County. I'm not going to read this entire, for brevity, I'm not going to read this entire proclamation, but let me do a shortened version on behalf of our board chair, Stacy White, the rest of our commission, Board of County Commissioners, and our county administrator, Mike Merrill. The Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to recognize the West Tampa Library Branch, the iconic center of learning, enrichment, and community engagement for more than 100 years on Salcines Day at West Tampa Library. The Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida does hereby commend the West Tampa Library on this occasion of Salcines Day at West Tampa Library and recognizes its legacy to community service awarded this day, the 28th day of October, 2017. Judge?
Okay, thank you very much. Our program today would not have been possible without the efforts of the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Council. I'd like to introduce the Chairman Anthony Perez, who will be giving a special presentation.
Bienvenidos a todos. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Council, I bring you saludos on this very special day. Thank you for being here with us. As you know, and as several have mentioned, yesterday the council unveiled a beautiful bronze living statue of Judge Salcines downtown. That event and today's event required partnerships from several community organizations, and the council would like to take a moment to recognize the individuals who helped us so much. Will Donna Perino and Maria Stylen, the council's co-chairs of the event, please come up to help me with the presentations. Audience, I'm going to ask for a favor. Please hold your applause until all partners have received their certificates. Andrew Bradenbaugh, thank you for your lead in joining our efforts early on and the marvelous Hillsborough County Library Cooperative into the festivities to honor Judge Salcines. No matter how many times you ask for the hold of applause, it never works. Carry on. Jennifer Deeds, manager of the city's archives and records. Thank you for coordinating the Salcines Day meetings and keeping the entire team on task. Round of applause. If you can't beat them, join them. La Gaceta newspaper, Patrick Mantega, thank you for keeping your readers so well informed about this project in La Gaceta. Patrick could not be with us today, but we will see to it that he receives his certificate. Liliana Lopez, Chief Communications Administrator of Hillsborough County. What's that? Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, thank you for being our key Hillsborough County go-to person and helping us with all the details of the unveiling and also for the crayons. Oh, for La Gaceta, perfect. Are we all caught up?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Dr. Gary Mormino, USF Professor Emeritus. Thank you for bringing your insights and words of wisdom about Judge Salcines to today's events. Robin Nye, City Arts Program Director. Thank you for producing the gorgeous Color Me West Tampa coloring book that we will see in a few minutes. Marlene Spalton, President and CEO of the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay. Thank you for the involvement of the foundation, who was our valued fundraising partner.
She's not here today, so we will make sure she...
We will see to it that she receives it. Hello, hello. Sharon Stegmeyer, West Tampa Library Director. Thank you for hosting Salcines Day in Judge Salcines' second home, your historic library. How about one round of applause for all of the recipients? Now, if I may ask, EJ, if you can please come up. I'm also going to ask for Sharon and Andrew to come up front as well. While they're coming up, I'd like to say thank you as well to Olympia Catering and Mr. Empanada for donating yesterday's reception. And today's refreshments are provided by the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce and the West Tampa Optimist Club. Now, we said we had a few surprises for you today, and so here is the first. Our next presentation consists of 2 plaques, which will be permanently displayed here in the West Tampa Library, thanks to Andrew Bradenbaugh and Sharon Stegmeyer. Donna and Maria, please do the honors.
Surprise.
They're beautiful. We have one final presentation. Yep, let's go ahead and put these. Andrew, EJ, if you could stay with us, we have the surprises keep coming. We have one final presentation. On behalf of the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Council, we are thrilled to present a check. Oh, Sharon. Oh, Sharon, you left us. Where? Sharon. Can't keep track of everybody.
She's fast.
On behalf of the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Council, we are thrilled to present a check for $10,000 to the West Tampa Library in honor of Judge Salcines. He is okay, yes. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the wonderful program. Just gonna lay it down.
Great, thank you very much. The plaques that you see here will soon be mounted and on display right here out in the lobby, just before you enter the original part of the library. Now we have another exciting announcement to share with you, and that is the new West Tampa coloring book, Color Me West Tampa. This has been a collaborative production, and all of you will be receiving copies of this before we leave today. But this collaborative production has been an effort between the City of Tampa, the Mayor's Hispanic Advisory Council, the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Library, the USF Library Special Collections, the Tampa Bay History Center, the Public Art Alliance, AIA Tampa Bay, and US AmeriBank. I really want to recognize those folks who worked so hard on bringing this. Once you get to see it, you're going to be very, very pleased. This is amazing. It is West Tampa's history, and it's fun, and it's exciting, so you're going to be, it's very pleasing. I want to recognize those folks who worked on this, and I'm going to make you stand one more time. The Honorable E.J. Salcines. Donna Perino, and I have to give special thanks to Donna. This is really because of her. This project. Maria Stalin. Andy Hughes from USF is here today. Nancy DeLance. Stacy Jurowitz. Kim Headland. John Ragnon. Skylar Kurtz. No, you're here. Melissa Davies. Sue Winter. Jeremy Rex. And Benita McConico. As you can see, this was quite a group effort. Finally, I'd like to thank the efforts of the City of Tampa Art Program Manager, Robin Nye, and Jennifer Dietz, the Archives and Records Manager for the City of Tampa. It's under their guidance that the coloring book was completed. And would you please welcome them up? Jennifer?
Thank you, everyone. It was certainly a labor of love, and it was a pleasure to work on this particular project. I do hope you enjoy it, and it will also be available online as well. It is something for all ages, and it will be a wonderful experience to enjoy with your family. Thank you.
Thank you. And as Robin said, this was a collaborative project, and there were so many talented people that worked on it. I would also like to thank our city clerk, Shirley Fox Knowles, who is our department head and who has been a fantastic mentor for our staff. Of course, I would love to thank EJ. I really feel like I cannot thank you enough, EJ, for all you have done for local history, all you have done for our community. I think everyone in this room has been impacted by EJ and probably could tell a story about how he has influenced our life, and I really cannot thank you enough for that. Thank you. And what I'm going to share right now is actually a gift that we received from EJ, a donation last year, our Tampa Photo Supply Collection, which is an incredible collection of photos from the Tampa Photo Supply Studio and local photographers Rose Rutigliano Weekly and Joseph Scalaro. And Dave is going to get us started on the projector over there. But we were very fortunate also, and we're thankful to Andrew for partnering with us so that we can share this photo collection on the library's website. So this is going to be available on the Tampa Hillsborough County Public website. So if you're going to search for historic photos and you go to look for the Burgert collection, this collection will be on there right with it. And our staff has been working on digitizing this. We've done about 2,000 images so far, but there's about 50,000 historic images of Tampa that will be shared thanks to Judge Salcines, so thank you. And this, I just want to show you really quickly, this is the page that you'll go to on the library's website to find these photos, and you can actually search across all collections, but it's in the bottom left corner there, where you can see the Tampa Photo Supply Collection. And what we're going to do now is start a slideshow for you. It's a very special collection. It has so many great events in Tampa's history, and Dave is going to get that slideshow started, so thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to actually take a brief break now so that you can pick up a copy of the coloring book, and you can enjoy the refreshments provided by Olympia Catering. Our programmers will resume at 1 with the keynote address by Dr. Gary Mormino, and this will be running the whole time, so you'll be able to enjoy this as well. So we'll see you back here at the podium at 1 o'clock. Thank you. To get this second part of our program going, and I have to say the day would not be complete without us hearing from our honoree. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the podium the Honorable E.J. Salcines.
My heart is full of love and appreciation for every one of you that's here and the families that each of you represent. The location yesterday of the placement of the Salcines statue was, of course, very unique. It was the place where I got started as a young lawyer. I got sworn in as an assistant state attorney in that building. I tried my first cases there. My first murder case I tried there. I handled many grand jury investigations in that building. The location was significant. But this location today is even more significant. It was in this room where I used to do a lot of my homework. The West Tampa Library did not have the annex, the extension. There was no air condition. All of the windows were open. This is where we walked up the stairs. This is where we did our book reports. And since the windows were open and Alessi Bakery was just over there, you would try to concentrate, and all of a sudden your nose. And then across the street from Alessi Bakery was the most popular ice cream parlor, tropical ice cream parlor. I think you got a banana split for 15 cents. And the trolley would come through here. You would hear the sound. Then later on, of course, we had the bus. But if there was any car that backfired, you didn't know if they were putting a bomb or somebody was shooting somebody. But this was a very significant a venue for all of us. You could not live in West Tampa without visiting at some point or another the West Tampa Library. And I'll let you in on a secret. Once a year, National Geographic would publish their Africa edition. It was the most popular book, and that's how we learned anatomy. The word got around, oye, oye, ya llegó. It's here. Of course, it was National Geographic, so it was not pornography. But we learned a lot about the human anatomy from the pictures in the National Geographic. This is a historic place. I was talking to a number of the Cubans that were cornering me during the break. This was the very first cigar factory. It was a wood building that eventually burned. But it was in this cigar factory that Jose Marti's trusted secretary, Gonzalo de Quesada, brought the order of uprising, and Blas Oayoran, an Irish name, but the Irish were very prominent in Cuba. Oayoran rolled the order, and of course the Martí War started on the 24th of February, 1895. And then of course the US gets into it when the Maine explodes. But this venue was very significant. The history of Cuba cannot be written without mentioning this cigar factory. With time, like all wooden buildings, they deteriorate or they burn, or the termites decide to leave, and then it collapses. It was in this site, as has been said, that Mr. McFarlane had been writing. Mr. McFarlane was born in Scotland, and we never hear enough about the Scottish people that came to Tampa. They were very, very influential. Nothing happened downtown without the Scottish clan approving or disapproving. Mr. McFarlane was born in Scotland and a very prominent lawyer. He had been a state attorney, and he learned that in Pittsburgh, another fellow from Scotland by the name of Andrew Carnegie, some people want to pronounce it Carnegie, but Andrew Carnegie was giving out money to build libraries. And the money arrived with one major thing that had to be done. You have to build the building like we have sent you the plans. Well, the architects up north always built a basement. We can't build basements in Florida because you hit water. So Mr. McFarland wrote to Mr. Carnegie and said, "We can't build a basement. We'll hit water." Mr. Carnegie writes back and says, "You either build it like I sent it, or I want my money back." Guess what? We've had a basement. The basement always leaked. There was always humidity down there.
Still is.
I'm surprised you're still using it. When the lectores were kicked out of the cigar factories, all of the lectores owned their own books. And sitting around some coffee shop, maybe the 4th of July Cafe or some other cafe, "Oye, ¿qué vamos a hacer con esos libros? What are we going to do with all the books?" And the answer was, "Give it to the West Tampa Library." So West Tampa Library, around 1932, received an extraordinary collection of the great novels. Of course, all the books were in Spanish, but they were the famous authors from throughout the world, and those books had been translated to Spanish. They had been read in the cigar factories. Where did they decide to put the collection of the Spanish novels? In the basement. With a rainy season, the books were floating. And at some point, the inevitable occurred. They had to all be picked up and thrown away. But this building is significant. Most of you from West Tampa have been in here during your homework assignments and book reports. To me, it's part of my life. I used to be in the corner where my dad had the department store. Before I became the official sweeper of the sidewalks, I was a shoe shine boy. And my territory was from the corner of Howard and Main to the corner of Howard and Cherry. And one of my first shines, the man was wearing a light tan, silky pair of socks. And I was shining his shoes, and at the end of the shine, the man looks at his socks, and he tells me in very West Tampa language, "Coño, you put more polish on my socks than you did on my shoes." I think it was a 15-cent shoe shine. I'm sure he paid me because I used that money to go to the Royal Theater on Saturdays. But the guy was smart. He walked down to the West Tampa department store and he told my father, "Oye, Salcines, ¿qué pasa? Look what your son has done to my socks." My father recognized the two tones of the silk socks. And my father said, "Mi hijo hizo eso." "Yes, your son did this." "What size sock do you wear?" "A 10 or a 10.5, whatever the size was." My father went, he got a box of the socks, he opened the box, and he said, "Choose what pair you want." When I got to the store, my father said, "I'm not making any money today because you shine socks instead of shoes. Come with me. Where are we going? Come with me." So he walked me down Main Street to the old man who used to make shoes, a shoemaker, Nano Castellano. And he told the shoemaker what I had done to the guy's socks. And the old man said, I'll take care of that. He got a piece of leather, and the Italian had his blade, and he cut 4 small strips of leather. And he said, when you're going to shine shoes, you put this piece of leather between the sock and the shoe, on the left side and on the right side, so that when you are brushing, it's going to hit the leather and it's not going to color the socks. So this is just a little bit of the history that comes back as I sit here with you. What important role this library, this building has played in my life. Again, I thank you very much for being here, but I'm especially proud that the Optimist Club of West Tampa chose to sponsor this program. George Guida, Emiliano Salcines were founders, with many other men, were founders of the West Tampa Optimist Club, which was formed, I want to tell you, around 1948, maybe 49. They were both very active in the West Tampa, 49 was it? Okay. They were both very active in the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce, which is the other organization that is sponsoring this event. I'm very proud to be wearing my Optimist Club pin. My father, together with George Guida, together with Carmelo Alessi, together with our first president, Dr. Joe Figueroa, they founded a club that eventually, when I was graduating from law school, I became a member of the Optimist Club, and I was welcomed by my longtime childhood friend, Elvin Martinez, who's here today also. We have been members of the West Tampa Optimist Club, Julio, more than what, 55, 60 years?
Myself, Elvin, and you have 168 years of
168, wow. In any case, please consider that I'm putting my arms around you, embracing you, as we say in West Tampa, con un fuerte abrazo, thanking you for being here on such a singularly important day in my life and my children's life, and of course, my lifetime companion, for whom she's dedicated her life to me, and I've dedicated my life to her when I'm not politicking. But Elsa has just been an absolute saint and companion, and I assure her, when you die, you're not going to stop in purgatory. You're going straight to heaven because you've done your purgatory on earth, putting up with me. Elsa, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much. One more, let's recognize that one more time, everybody. Now I want to introduce to you Dr. Gary Mormino. He's the co-founder of the Florida Studies program at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg, and the Frank E. Duckwall Professor of History Emeritus. In addition to a teaching career that has spanned nearly 4 decades, Dr. Mormino is the author of several award-winning Florida history books, including The Immigrant World of Ybor City and Land of Sunshine, State of Dreams. The Florida Humanities Council has named him Humanist of the Year in 2003, and in 2015, he received the Lifetime Achievement Award for writing by the Florida Humanities Council. Today, Dr. Mormino will be talking about heroes. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Gary Mormino.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Amigos tampeños y paisanos. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. As the book of Ecclesiastes reminds us, let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. We gather today to pay tribute to an authentic Tampa hero, a Tampeño who has walked the walk. And let's be honest, Emiliano Jose Salcines can talk the talk. Often well past the appointed hour. So I have about 2 hours of notes here, so get comfortable. The embodiment of the American dream, the son of Spanish immigrants from Santander and Asturias, E.J. Salcines was born in 1938 in West Tampa. All you need to know about him is included in that sentence. E.J. Salcines was born in 1938 in West Tampa. Let me explain. The American dream. The American dream remains a powerful, unwritten creed that there is something special about a nation that offers sanctuary to the world's distressed citizens. In Deuteronomy, the Old Testament reminded the Jews, the alien who resides among you shall be a citizen among you, for you were once strangers in the land. We were all once strangers in the land, if you go back far enough. In West Tampa, immigrants worked long hours and faced discrimination, but they realized that such sacrifice made it possible for their children to become ball players and mechanics, historians and judges, state attorneys and mayors. The Salcines family was driven by a central tenet in the American dream. I'm as good as you are, and my children will be better than me. E.J.'s mother worked at the Balbine factory in West Tampa. E.J.'s father worked at the Simovitz department store on Main Street. You've got to love this. A Spanish immigrant working for a Romanian Jew. That's the American dream. One day he sold a pair of shoes to a beautiful Spanish señorita who returned his smile. They later married. He is the son of Spanish immigrants. His parents, Emiliano Salcines and Juanita Rodriguez, imbued in their son a pride in being Spanish. He has dedicated his life to explaining the heritage of Italians, Cubans, black and white, Spaniards, and only in Tampa were they called Latins. And as he reminds from Don Vicente Martinez Ibor to Gavino Gutierrez, from Braulio Alonso to Baldomero Lopez, from Elvin Martinez to Bob Martinez, Spanish Americans have enriched and strengthened the cultural and social fabric of America and Tampa. Emiliano Jose Salcines was born at the Central Asturiano Hospital in Ybor City. His beaming parents soon escorted him across the Fortune Street Bridge to his lifetime home, West Tampa. What Hannibal, Missouri was to Mark Twain, what Lake Wobegon was to Garrison Keillor, West Tampa has been to E.J. Salcines. West Tampa deserves its own place in the sun. It's not, as a historian wrote 35 years ago, an industrial satellite of Ybor City. By the way, that historian was me. He was young and stupid. And it's said that when immigrants left the village square in Italy, the parish priest would remind them, you will find the same village the world over, telling them that you're not going to find anything better just because you're leaving. The immigrants would often tell them an Italian proverb, chi attraversa il mare si compra la casa. He who crosses the ocean buys a home. And the home was one great fixture of the American dream that they could never have imagined in Spain or Cuba or Sicily. Whereas Ybor City was independent of Tampa, except for 1 year, West Tampa was an independent municipality for 30 years. From 1895 to 1925, West Tampa was governed by immigrants and Latins. It's an extraordinary history. In 1910, West Tampa boasted a population of 8,300 inhabitants. Fewer than 1 in 10 West Tampa residents were Native Americans of Native parentage. Essentially, this was an immigrant community governed by immigrants. Very different place than Ybor City. Consider that E.J. and Elsa Salcines, Santa Elsa, consider that they've never left West Tampa. That is extraordinary. Part of the American dream often is you leave the old neighborhood for the suburbs. Consider the site. E.J. talked about the O'Halloran factory. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph O'Halloran, except he was a Cuban immigrant. About the O'Halloran factory, the Del Pino factory. Here's a story he did not tell. This is one of my favorite stories. I wish I had E.J.'s florid Victorian speaking style that was rehearsed on the stages of West Tampa. But imagine you're at this place, you're this site, February 24th, 1895. There had been rumors that week that something important was about to break. The cigar that lit the revolution had already traveled, and everyone was told to gather in front of the O'Halloran cigar factory that evening. And Martin Herrera was going to give an address. He was part of the junta at this time. He thought it would be even better if he asked his 10-year-old daughter to speak. His 10-year-old daughter was named Pennsylvania Herrera, who had a sister named Pocahontas Herrera. I'm not making this up. Seriously. So unrehearsed, Pennsylvania Herrera comes, and a Tampa Tribune reporter recorded this. It's one of the more astonishing documents I've said, and a few tears. The shouts of the loud crowd were heard for blocks around, and then silence reigned. She began her speech, and then for 20 minutes she spoke extempore in clear, measured tones, giving emphasis to her well-rounded sentences with graceful gestures which brought round and round of applause. Not a few eyes were dimmed with tears at the pathos of her eloquence. It was a scene this writer never witnessed before. A little girl pleading with the earnestness of a prince and the eloquence of a sage for the country she would lay down her pure sweet life to save from serfdom. We stand on hallowed ground. This is arguably the most historic site, not in West Tampa, but Tampa. May you be born in interesting times, an old proverb reminds us. E.J. Salcines was born in 1938. The Spanish Civil War was winding down, but an even more menacing war beckoned. E.J. was 7 when World War II ended, but memories of sacrifice and patriotism were seared in his memories. If you go to the Tampa Bay History Center, there's a display case that young E.J. was asked by his father to clip out pages from the Tampa Tribune and West Tampa and La Traducion and La Gaceta, stories of sacrifice by the local boys. And it's touching to see these hundreds and hundreds of names and tributes. A few years ago, E.J. graciously agreed to give my food and history class. I teach a class in food and history. That's what's become of history, by the way. And so we did a food tour of West Tampa, and we met at La Oriental for cafe and guayabas, and then we had a little picnic at the Salcines Park. And very frivolous times, wonderful day, and E.J. told them, he said, my mother often altered garments in the back of the store. And if you look, you can still see behind the 4th of July Cafe, these little rooms back there. He said that was the Western Union Telegram office. And he said on several occasions, the woman at the Western Union office would yell across the street to my mother, the Alvarez boy on Cherry Street has died at Okinawa, or the Fernandez boy has died at Remagen. And E.J.'s mother would tell the neighbors on Cherry and Street, be prepared for the messenger, be prepared then to console the mother, to bring food and that. It's called community. And if all the forces, I think, shaping E.J. Salcines and those generations were shaped by community. And as I get older, I realize that I'm writing more and more about lost community, the loss of community across America, internets, cell phones. But it's part of a lost America. E.J.'s life and values have been shaped by many forces: war and revolution, depression and prosperity. But it's this guiding sense of community that's defined his life and good works. A simple belief that we're part of something much greater than simply ourselves. That there's more to life than simply making money. That's why E.J.'s story is such a feel-good saga of how one individual can make a difference. In some ways, he's a real-life George Bailey. You might remember one of my favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey has that rare opportunity. He is able to see what the world would have been like if he had never existed. And E.J., yours is a life well-lived and well-loved. Like George Bailey, you have experienced life's highs and lows. In 1984, E.J. Salcines responded to one of life's greatest challenges, the question we all have faced: what kind of person do you become after defeat, when it looks like you've been let down? What kind of person do you become? And rather than simply going out and making money, E.J. rejected bitterness and defeatism. You became a judge, an educator, a historian, a community activist to preserve and protect his beloved West Tampa. Again, a familiar theme emerges: the role and importance of community. Old-fashioned values flourish in communities: a sense of belonging, a sense of sharing, a sense of caring. We should leave this world, this neighborhood, a better place than we found it. That should be everyone's life purpose. If we've learned anything from history, it's that government is lousy at creating communities. Neighbors, institution, and history forge communities. Few things are more important to E.J. Salcines than role models. And he stood on the shoulder of giants. And how interesting is it that Tampa has, I think, 5 statues now of Latins. You know, there must be 24 statues of the apostle, Jose Marti. E.J., you're no apostle. You're a great man, but you are no apostle. Santa Elsa is mother to the apostle.
True.
If one strolls across Centennial Park in Ybor City, you encounter statues of Nick Nuccio and Tony Pizzo. All you need to know about Nick Nuccio is that every morning at 6 o'clock, he would walk to Los Cuervos Cafe and meet with constituents. He had a listed phone number. E.J. has he used to have a listed phone number. I don't know if we have phone books anymore to find listed phone number. Nick Nuccio, by the way, may be the last statue we will ever see of someone holding a cigar. Very politically incorrect now. Tony Pizzo looks like he's delivering a lecture. There's a lectern in front of him. A few hundred yards away on 7th Avenue is Roland Manteiga, who's reading La Gaceta, touching thing. Now, had I been asked to design the Salcines trophy or the statue, I would have had E.J. Salcines wearing a guayabera, a formal guayabera, and he's about to embrace friends with a forte abbraccio, a grande abrajo. So we live in a time of desperate for heroes. Certainly, every generation deserves its own heroes. I am proud that we have chosen to recognize the heroic qualities of Emiliano Jose Salcines. Bravo, adelante. Thank you.
that certainly was moving. Thank you very much, Dr. Mormino. There are a few other folks I want to make sure to thank this afternoon before we wrap up. I want to make sure to thank Olympia Catering for the food. And two of our event sponsors, which we've already heard so eloquently about, the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce, both past President Leo Alvarez and President-elect Gil Munoz, and the West Tampa Optimists and Julio Giovinco. I knew I'd get that right. Would you like to say a few words?
Julio, come on.
Gee, you said everything I was gonna say.
Repeat it. I'll come to you.
No, I really was going to say that EJ, myself, and Alvin have been all optimists for over 50 years, and we built 160 years. But we have other optimists here. Bibi, George Guida, Dr. Chavarria still here? Now, there was some optimists here from another club. We're the chief of. Okay, it was a pleasure to sponsor the program. EJ, we love you dearly. And a little story myself. I was brought up in Ybor City in a housing project that was known as the Proyecto Monstarion. But my first job out of high school at 17 was for George Guida. Right across the street, we got that George Guida was there. And if you want to learn West Tampa, work with George Guida. He was like a father to me, and I became West Tampa. So I love West Tampa. I've been here all my life. Met my wife at George Guida's. So EJ, you're a wonderful person. I'm glad to sponsor, and all the optimists that are here are happy to sponsor. Thank you.
I taught EJ a lot of things, but I did not teach him how to make short speeches. AJ, as he said, we've been friends for many, many years, since childhood. One of the things that, to me, indicates what a person EJ is, there was a time in our lives we were young, and we just married, and I was doing EJ a favor by driving him across the bridge to law school. And I'd pick him up and let him drive because I was working full time, and I took the opportunity to sleep. So EJ would tell me, let me pay for the gas. I said, EJ, I don't want you to pay for the gas. I'm gonna go there anyway. I'm gonna spend the gas on me. I don't want you to help me pay for the gas. Well, I was working at the post office at the time, and EJ saw me on my route. I used to work at nights, and he told me, Elvin, tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Come by the store. I wanna see you. So on one of my trips to West Tampa to deliver mail, special delivery, I stopped by the store, and EJ greeted me, of course, and he had set up a display of 6 or 7 shirts. And he said, Ellen, pick 2 shirts. EJ, you don't have to do this. You're doing this because I take you to school in the morning. He says, no, Ellen, let me explain to you. You take me to school in the morning because you enjoy doing things for people. I said, well, yeah. He said, well, let me enjoy doing something for you. And that is what person he gave. And I'm glad I got this opportunity because I was saving this story for his wake.
Well, on that note, I don't know that there's much left to say. I do want to thank everyone for coming today on behalf of the City of Tampa, of the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Library and Hillsborough County. Thank you so much for coming out and celebrating E.J. Salcines. We are all the richer for everything you've contributed to the City of Tampa and to all of our lives. Thank you very much.